Before starting the game, I was in this mindset.
This is where the fun begins.
After playing most of the game, I was feeling more like this. Okay, it's not actually that bad, and I don't hate this game. And thanks to the Steam Summer Sale, I finally purchased the Star Wars Ultimate Collection, and weirdly the game I was looking forward to playing the most was Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes, often referred to as one of the worst Star Wars games, and I love The Clone Wars and I was actually really excited to play it, so let's check it out and see if it's really that bad. Praised by critics, they say even the most die-hard Star Wars fans will have a hard time stomaching this disappointing effort, and calling it one spectacularly frustrating platformer. Now, Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes was released in 2009 and is an action-adventure video game developed by Chrome Studios and published by LucasArts. It was ported to just about every console and platform at the time. Star Wars games have a history of being good and even great. They were the one franchise that for the most part managed to avoid the dreaded movie tie-in curse. A lot of the Star Wars games are great, and even some of the worst games are still pretty decent. Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes is based on the award-winning fan-favorite Clone Wars television series. The story is actually pretty good. It feels like it could have easily been a few episodes of the Clone Wars, taking place right after the events we saw in the Ryloth arc from Season 1. Anakin and Ahsoka are taking care of the droids and making way for the clones, trying to clear out the leftover separatists from Ryloth. You'll also play as Captain Rex, and their story is pretty closely tied together. We also follow Obi-Wan Kenobi and Plo Koon. They are on the Juman 9 station when it's under attack by droids. This game's story has several different perspectives that all eventually merge towards the end of the game. You'll also play as Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Aayla Secura, and Luminara Unduli. Commander Gree is also here, and that was a nice surprise. They are trying to solve a mystery of a floating ship that's in pieces. Anyway, Windu and Fisto are on the Juman 9 station as well, so their levels are extremely similar to Obi-Wan Kenobi's. You also get to play as Commander Cody. There's a decent roster here of playable characters that it was really cool to see. Anyway, without giving away the story, I'd say it's a good one. And if it were a few episodes of the Clone Wars, it would have probably been a good few episodes. It definitely has that early Clone Wars vibe, the Sky Guy and Snips era, as I like to call it. The cutscenes really do feel like a Clone Wars episode, just with less good animation. Another really good thing is the voice cast. Absolutely stellar. Same cast as the Clone Wars, everyone seems to be reprising their roles here. They're all great, just as you would expect, they all do an absolutely phenomenal job. The combat here is pretty hit and miss. The combat can be really fun at times. Slicing and dicing clankers is always a good time. The way you slice through the droids is very satisfying. It's when they introduce these annoying droids that turn invisible is when it gets annoying. Right when you get to them, you'll go to attack and swing in the opposite direction of where you intended, then they disappear, show up somewhere else, and the cycle repeats. You'll switch back and forth between characters and events. One mission you're Anakin on Ryloth, then you'll switch to Kenobi on the station, and then Aayla Secura on the planet she's on. I do think this helps keep the game moving and helps with the boredom you can sometimes feel with the repetitive combat. The different environments can be nice, but it feels much more like levels in a video game than an actual adventure in the Star Wars universe. I know that might not make sense, but you just see the gaminess in it. Like the bad and lazy level design is almost as distracting and bad as the comedy in The Last Jedi. I think that the best video games make you forget that you're playing a video game, and you become lost in the game and the world that it creates, enjoying the story and gameplay, not thinking about how every boss fight with the villain is a slight variation on the exact same thing. I actually thought some of the best sections in the game were when you played as the clones. Their combat is more of a third-person run-and-gun type, and it's actually pretty fun, and you need to take cover or you will die. That's another thing, there's almost no consequences for death in this game. You know how when you die in a LEGO game and you drop a bunch of studs, it's like that, but you lose points that you can use to purchase upgrades and accessories. like Indiana Jones's hat. And, the points here, they're not as important as the studs in a LEGO game. The game is also fairly easy, the only difficulty coming from trying to manage your way through the game's platforming.
Oh, not good.
I don't want to say that this is the worst platforming I've ever played, but it's up there. Admittedly, I don't play a lot of platformers, but this game just had some tough sections. It's hard to judge where you're jumping a lot of the time, and you'll just jump to your death when you're aiming for a platform. It also has this really weird feeling to the platforming. You will never feel confident that you will go or land where you want. This is easily my least favorite part of the game, and it drags the entire game down with how frustrating it is. One thing I did enjoy is the animations. The animations of the characters really look like the animations in the show, like how the clones run and shoot, and it does really look like the show. This game does have some extras, like I mentioned, you can purchase upgrades, silly hats, you can also buy dances. This game is similar gameplay-wise to a LEGO game, but those games are much better, and the good news is that if you want to play a good Clone Wars game, LEGO made one. LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. The gameplay, graphics, and thankfully the platforming are great in that game, and as long as you don't mind Legos, and who would, Legos are amazing, that is a great game to try out. In conclusion, this game has its good and bad elements. I love the Clone Wars, and this game oozes Clone Wars energy, but the gameplay and platforming have a lot to be desired. I wanted to like this game so much, to have a genuine Clone Wars game that was fun and that I could revisit time and time again. Unfortunately, this game isn't it. Hopefully, with the resurgence and popularity of the prequel era, we might one day get another Clone Wars game that lives up to the name.